This is Oreo. He's getting a little bigger since my last video. It's been a while since I've done a video, and it's because I've been so damn busy. Just doing home repairs and working, and there was a vacation somewhere in there, and it's been hectic. So what we're going to be doing today, let's take a look. So before I get into that, I've done some changes to the house, minor ones. We just had a Hawaiian-themed birthday party for my girlfriend, and it was all her idea. And I built this for her as a tiki bar, and I got some leftover pineapples if anybody wants some. Just kidding. But anyway, yeah, I've been doing some minor renovations, repairs mostly. So I've just installed shutters all around, and I feel that it was a necessitation, a necessary thing, because the house just looks so plain without them, and there was also some damage to the siding, like holes and stuff from when there were awnings on these windows. So I figured, why not kill two stones with one bird? So that's exactly what I did. In terms of repairs on these windows, I've actually completed all but one window. These have been glass taken out, rebedded, glazed, repainted, all that. So they will seal up nicely for the winter. And I've taken all the storm windows apart, cleaned them, made necessary repairs. I've had to fabricate some parts for them, actually, from aluminum, and yeah, and those are all good and working. Let's see if I have my key with me. I do. So this is yeah, that window's done. This window is going to be a pain in the neck because I have to get some some staging put together or something. It's very hard to get to with a ladder, with a normal ladder. So right now I'm getting some stuff ready to complete another project. Let's take a look at what that's going to be, but I wanted to get that door unlocked while I'm walking around so I don't have to do it later. So let's go upstairs back into the garage where we have our other project to deal with. So in the garage, I've been making repairs to this rear door, and the problem with this door is that interestingly enough, the door frame is completely solid. The door was solid, but the threshold was totally rotted out. So I knocked it out and I made a new one. I took this piece of 2x8 pressure treated lumber, cut it down to size. I added a not a chamfer, but a slight flat spot here. Kind of flattened it out, put it on its side, ran it through the saw at an angle. Did the same thing to this side as well. But I screwed up. I'll admit it. I made an uh-oh. Can any of you figure out what that was? If you look at it closely, you'll notice that the entire door is at a slight skew. The door frame is at a slight skew. We don't want that. What I gotta do is I gotta rip out all these screws. Thankfully I screwed everything together rather than nailed it, so I can do it pretty fast. I'm gonna take all these screws out, and I've got to knock the frame in a little bit. But the problem is I already put my spray foam in place, so I may have to run a might have to take the trim boards off first and then just run my saw down, my little oh, it's not over here, my reciprocating saw. Might have to run that all the way down, cut the foam, and then knock it in. But yeah, it's a little off. Okay, I got the trim off one side. I got to take all the trim off this door. I'm going to replace it with PVC trim. I got some 4.5 inch, I think, PVC. But this door frame is solid from top to bottom, which is why I did not bother to replace it with a new door. And a lot of you might be wondering, I mean, wouldn't it be easier to just buy a pre-hung door and boom, done? Yes, it would. But I want to keep the original doors. I like the way they look, and I don't want to get rid of them. They're in good shape. Look at the siding underneath this vinyl. This is perfectly good lap siding, 8-inch siding. It's beautiful. You know, it's a shame that somebody thought that covering it with vinyl would be the solution. I think it was a mistake. I think this should have been preserved. But the good news is, you know, if the siding ever starts to go bad, see, the wonderful thing about clapboard siding is that you can just replace individual boards if they ever begin to rot. And they're basically, stuff pretty much lasts forever if you take care of it. The old stuff. The new stuff, maybe not so much. The other side's not that bad off either. I mean, again, very solid wood. I'd be afraid if I were to maybe bring the siding back to life, I'd be afraid that when they shot the nails in for the vinyl that they may have cracked some boards. And all they put behind was this very thin paper, like a foil-backed paper vapor barrier, which I don't know, I probably would have used something a little more robust. But right here we have there's a trim board here that rotted out. And I'm just going to, this is still pretty solid. I'm going to shoot a nail in there, put another board here. This side's fine. We don't have to mess with it. But this side's got to go back in just a hair. So I'm going to take my saw, zing it down, cut the foam, push it in, screw it, glue it, and do it. Okay, so I was able to liberate the threshold from the sill. We'll then push the door back where it belongs, like right about there. And I'm going to just check my measurements with the tape measure and refasten the sucker. Shouldn't be a big deal. It's all good. Should be okay. So I got my first piece of trim. I got the header piece in. Again, this stuff is it's called Veranda. That's the brand, the company that makes it. I'm really loving this stuff. I just don't love the price because one 8-foot by 4-inch board is about, I think about a little over $20. If I were to do that in pine, it would have been half as much. I got my work cut out for me. So now I got to get get this side done. I think I'm going to bring them all the way down or just below the threshold. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so before we put the side pieces back in, I had to put in a new toe kick first. So that's what that's all about. The toe kick was completely rotted away. And I had to cut away some of the sheathing to get it in there just right. So yeah, it was completely gone. There was probably like that much wood left all the way across. It was a sight to be seen. Alright, so now we've got the main trim boards in place. We've got the kick panel. We've got it all done. We're not done. Now I've got to cut the quarter round to fit. That's going to cover these screw holes. I use smaller screws, small stainless steel trim screws on the exposed bits. Those get filled with spackle, vinyl spackle. And these will remain uncovered, and then I'm going to use small trim nails to put in the quarter round. So there we go. Alright, so it's another day, another dollar. Let's take a look. I actually finished the whole project, and I figured we'll just skip over the nitty-gritty stuff and let's just show what it looks like. So here we are. I finished it up last night. I painted the threshold. I wasn't going to paint it until it had some chance to weather because it is pressure treated, but what the hell, we'll see what happens. I might regret my decision, but we'll see. Trim boards are all put in, caulked, filled in all the nail holes with vinyl spackle, which is what you're supposed to use on veranda trim. But you can see I got the quarter round in. I had to nail it like every couple inches. This stuff, it is harder to work with, I think, because it is not structurally, it has no rigidity to it, and it actually will expand and shrink with the weather, much like any vinyl product will, which is why I'm surprised to make vinyl windows, but hey. So I haven't actually had that repinned yet. That lock is going to be repinned to my house key. My father does that for me. He still has all of his locksmithing stuff from back when he was a locksmith, and he will repin the lock for me so that it's all the same key. I got the strikes put in. I did a video on how to do this, but I didn't really like how it came out, and it was just not really something I'd want to put out on YouTube. But I have drilled, so far, every single door in this house for deadbolts. Every exterior door I drilled for deadbolts. And all the interior doors I drilled out for new knob sets. Because all the knob sets inside the house were the old-fashioned, not mortise locks, but they were, what am I trying to say? Modern knob sets have much larger holes. The old ones had 3 smaller holes, but yeah, that's what I had to do. But you'll notice I added an piece of aluminum trim here, and that's really just, yeah, just whatever, make it pretty. The door closes nicely. Really no fuss, no muss. Like I said earlier in this video, I think I mentioned it, that this door would only open and close on days that ended in Y. No, it's every day. No, the door would only work on certain days. If it was dry out, the door would open and close pretty well. If it was humid, forget it. It wasn't happening for you. But I had to draw this door jamb out a little bit because it was sticking. So I added this piece of, this is actually a piece of cedar lumber, just a scrap, to give the door jamb some more rigidity right here so I could properly drill out for a deadbolt and give the latch something to bite onto. So I anticipate many, many, many decades of trouble-free operation from this door now. But it doesn't end there. I've actually done some other stuff too. You'll notice that there is now a light switch here, and there's a reason that's there, and I'm going to show it to you right now. And that right there is the reason. I actually put 2 of these up yesterday I put 2 of them in. One in the garage and one over by the basement door, right above the basement door. These are motion lights, and this house, when it was built, never had any exterior lighting in the back. Don't know why, but they never thought to put any lighting of any kind. So these right here are these are nice, good quality Eaton motion lights that I got from Ace Hardware. And now you'll notice that they're mounted on vinyl blocks. Now, those aren't your typical vinyl blocks. See, the vinyl mounting blocks that you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or even most hardware stores are basically just surface mount, fixture plates, but they don't have integrated junction boxes or wiring boxes. They depend on there being a box already on the wall, mounted in the wall or to a stud or something. Well, these units here, they have an integrated wiring block built in. So you don't have to, so in other words, it's perfectly legal to put these on. They function as their own junction box. And they're hard to find. As a matter of fact, I had to go to 3 Ace hardware stores to find these damn things. And I found the only 2 they had, and I bought them. And because they had what I was looking for, I also bought all the other stuff, like the switches and the wall plates, and I had to buy a double gang box to replace my single gang box for the light switch. And I already had the wiring on hand to make it happen. So that's a nice, safe, legal install. And the switch can be used to override the motion light, turn it off permanently or temporarily. Or at some point later in the future, if we don't want the motion light anymore, we can put just a regular on-off light for the backyard. But having lighting in the backyard is a godsend because I can walk. So I have it set to turn on just as you round that corner. And as you're walking, it illuminates this whole area. So I've got the lights aimed not to go up into the neighbor's yard, but to kind of illuminate the backyard a little bit. And then as I walk down that hill over there, that light kicks on and lights up the lower part of the yard. So it works out really well. And because these are only LEDs, they don't really consume very much power at all. So that's very nice. And here's the lower one. And they're sealed to the wall with, I used just regular white caulking. I actually got a little bit on that fixture. Don't wipe that off. But I might want to probably re-aim this so that it actually kicks on just as you're put this on test. We can test the angle. There it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock it over this way a little bit. Alright, so yeah, it kicks on just right. Alright, let's see. So I'm coming towards the hose. It doesn't see me, doesn't see me, doesn't see me. Okay. But if I go this way, there it goes. So I'm rounding the corner. Okay, it sees me right there. Now, if I were to, I think that'll be fine. And then it should kick on as I open this door. So as I'm walking out, really, dude? Alright, so I might have to lower this a tad. Okay. Yeah, it's whatever. Well, I think it's as good as I'm gonna get it. So set it to its normal 12-minute run time. So once it sees motion, it runs for 12 minutes. So there we go. So yeah, I used the same surface mount block down here as I used up in the garage. Keep things consistent, but I just happen to love that they pretty much solved my problem. I didn't want to have to run or cut holes and put sills and so that surface mount electrical box really does a great job in making this a very easy, simple install. So I actually ran this light off of that light. So this light stays on all the time. It's just a pull switch light. So I can just, turn it off if we decide not to use it. But it's actually hardwired. There is no switch anywhere. It's not a switch circuit. It actually runs off of the second bedroom, which is already a fairly low load circuit anyway. So adding another LED light to that circuit isn't going to kill anyone. So I just ran my wire out of this fixture box. I put in a new ceramic pull switch fixture, which the old ones only have one lug on each, one hot, one neutral. This one has two, so I could actually pass something through it. So the wire just goes along that beam over. Now this is where it gets fun, because it actually goes straight through all the way to the outside. But what I did is I just took the hot leg and I actually cut lengthwise, cut the jacket off. I left the neutral wire intact and I cut the hot leg, and I then ran a separate wire to the switch here, and there we go. This of course is mounted to the concrete with anchors. It's not going anywhere. I actually had the foresight to install a double gang box with two switches and actually have it control that light as well, and just rewire the whole circuit. I decided not to do that. Maybe in the future, when I do wall this room off, I will do that eventually. This will be a utility room, and that's probably what I'll do. That'll be the switch for this utility room light. It'll be that one right there. But when we get there, we'll get there. So, yes, I've already started putting away my air conditioners because it is now September. It's not going to get any warmer. And I actually only use that on a couple of occasions down in the hottest days of the summer. So I'm just like, screw it, take it out, don't need it. Alright, well, I think that's going to conclude our video. I had the lights off down here because the switch is upstairs and I came in through the back door. Yes, it would be nice to have a three-way switch that controls the basement lights down here, but that would require more wire and more fun, and I don't really want to do that right now. Oh yeah, in case you guys are wondering, we had a tiki-themed birthday party for my girlfriend about a week ago. It's actually been a lot longer than that. I think it's been about a week and a half. Oh yeah, in case you guys are wondering, yeah, we did have a tiki-themed birthday party for my lovely girlfriend. It was her idea, and I made this little tiki bar thing out of scrap wood, and she stained it, and she covered it in grass skirts to make it look like a... It's pretty cool. I don't know what we're going to do with it, where it's going to go, or what, yeah, I don't know. But here it is, and something I threw together. It's got the old garage shelving, stuff that I took out. There's a roof. You can see the outlines of the paint cans, because I put in all new shelving in the garage. I'll show you that real fast. I feel like a friggin' janitor with all these keys. They're all the same key. But, so here's the shelving I put in. I took all the particle board shelving out and I replaced it with pine. This stuff is cheap and strong, and it doesn't really bend and flex like the particle board stuff does. It'll last forever. I also added a shelf down here, and just get a little bit organized. We added a fridge here, so a good place to store. You know, some people they drink copious amounts of alcohol. I don't. I have soda in mine, but that's cool. I don't judge. But got our camping gear up here over in the back wall, and I'm thinking about making a clock out of this saw blade. What do you think? I'm gonna pick up a clock mechanism from Hobby Lobby or something and make a clock out of it, because why not? You can never have too many clocks. I'll put it right there where that one is. But yeah, this is the garage. She hosted a hula hoop contest with the kids, and that's where those are. That's why those are there, and good stuff. All right, well, I've done a lot of work this year. I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to do. I mean, really, I've done a lot just in this summer alone. I mean, the winter was... in the winter, I tried to focus on inside things. I painted every room in the house, painted the kitchen, living room, bedrooms, bathroom. I tore out the bathroom floor, put in a new one, new toilet, some other fixtures. Did some plumbing. I did a lot of cleaning in the winter, and in the summer it's like, okay, we got nice weather, so I fixed all the windows. I don't know if I showed you the garage windows. Now, these are windows that I was going to replace, but I was able to bring them back to life by scraping them, doing some minor wood repair, stripping out all the glazing, taking the glass. The glass had to come out of these because the bedding was so bad. So I took all that out, rebedded the glass, pointed them, glazed them, painted them, put shutters on them, and yeah, so this was something else. This is probably the biggest transformation that you can see from the road, because from the road these look pretty bad. I still got to do this garage door though. Yeah, it's got to go. Not this year. But this room here, this was, the first room you see when you come in, and it was a disaster. I had to strip the ceiling to bare wood. I did that by hand. That was a nightmare. Had to be done though. Got to do it. About 2 coats of Kills, 2 coats of exterior flat, and it looks pretty damn good. And if you prefer priced out beadboard, you can still buy beadboard, and it's stupid expensive. To redo this ceiling would bankrupt me. But, the walls, I painted them. This color, I had a hard time finding just the right shade of blue. And I think I found it. And I got a lot of compliments on this one because it's a nice color. It really is. I fixed all the jalousie windows. I did the epoxy floor with the paint chips in it. I built that step. I did a lot this summer. All that was done so far in just a matter of two months, span of about two or 3 months or so. It just balls to the walls, non-stop work. Which, by the way, is a term from the days of steam engines. So don't flag me for saying that. And that door had to be fixed up. So I tore this all out, tore one set of jalousies out, and I built this whole door frame from scratch. Never done this before. A lot of this stuff I've never done before. I don't know how to do any of it. I just figure it out. I look at how it's put together and I try to replicate it with what I've got. It's that simple. I'm not doing anything that you can't do. If you're watching this video, you can probably do most of what I've done, if not better. It's just simple stuff. But, I bought the house for well below market value, and I expected to put some work into it. I'm even doing some landscaping. I've seeded that yard 2 or 3 times. It came back to life pretty quickly, actually. But this fall, I've got to pick up a couple bags of lime and seed. Before the snow flies, I've got to seed and lime the yard. It's got to be done. Got to be done. Bring some nutrients back to the soil. I talked to my uncle, who's a groundskeeper, and that's what he told me to do. He said, just seed it and lime it. Okay, I'll do it. I've got a spreader, and I've got the will to do it, so I'm going to do it. So, anyway, well, it's been fun. Until then. But yeah, just to show you guys what these windows look like before I do them. Look at this. All that glazing, there's nothing holding it in at all. It's just gonzo. But I can make it look new again. Look at this. Just pops right off, just like that. Just like that. And yeah, there's no rot though. There's no rot on any of this wood. It's all solid wood. It's all perfectly good. This is a good time to get this done. Now, this window hasn't been fixed yet because I don't have the means to access it from the outside. Because of the topography of my property, it's damn near impossible for me to get to this window in a way that I can properly do the work needed. So I have to figure out somehow get some staging, maybe rent some staging. I may have to rent it. I don't know. We'll see. But I've got to do this. I don't own a pickup truck, so going out and getting all this stuff is going to be hell. So I'm thinking of just doing... See, I don't know. I don't know enough about ladders and staging to make it work. But I know I have to do it. I don't have a choice. It has to be done. My dad does have a much taller ladder than what I have. But it's a very flimsy, flexible type ladder, and I don't like standing on it. It gives me the willies just standing on it. So, yeah. But this one I really need to get it done before the weather breaks, and this is what they look like after I'm done. All the aluminum is cleaned and polished. You can see, nice, smooth bead of glazing. New latches. I put new latches on them because the old brass latches are, unfortunately, they're wearing out. But they slide easy. Yeah, this one's got some dust on it, but that's okay. This actually does need another coat. I might have to put another coat of paint on that sill, but that's what they end up looking like when I'm done. And they seal up nice. Yeah, no air leaks. Nice. And, you know, it doesn't really cost a lot of money to fix these windows. What does cost money is if I had vinyl windows that were 15, 20 years old, I'd be replacing them all. Because after that point, the seals start to fail. They start to get infiltrated with moisture. I've seen some where the tracks or the sash balances are broken in them. Yeah, not a very confidence-inspiring product in my opinion. But that's of course what most people are putting in. They're not putting in the high-end ones. They're putting in the cheap ones. So when you buy a flipper house, just little word of the wise. If you're buying a flipper house and it's got Pella Thermistar windows in it, you're going to be replacing those windows in a couple of years. Because I looked at some in the store. I'm talking about the bottom of the barrel. I think they're the 200 series Pella windows. And that's what flippers are buying. That's what they're putting in their houses. And they're not even buying the ones that fit correctly. They're buying whatever's on the shelf rather than having them custom made. So you're going to wind up with a window that's really, really chintzy. And it may be less efficient in a couple of years than these 65-year-old windows when they're properly fixed. Just heads up. If you're buying a flipper house and it's got new vinyl windows, buyer beware, because I've seen those cheap windows that they sell at Lowe's and Home Depot, and they're not pretty. In fact, the one display sample they had of those windows in the store was already broken. The spring balances had snapped on it, and the latches were so cheap. Jesus. But anyway, onward and upward.